Ladies and gentlemen, it is a great honor to introduce Professor Lauren Dyll from CCMS UKZN, Mrs. Julie Malan, a speech, language and drama facilitator, and Professor David Morris, an honorary research associate at McGregor Museum and visiting professor at Salt Lake University, to give extracts, appreciation, and a review of the book in that order. Let us give them a warm welcome.
Hi, good evening, everyone. So I'm Lauren Dyll, and I have the great pleasure of reading two reviews that have already been written on Geomotional. I haven't written mine yet. I said I'll do it afterwards. But I will be reading the two reviews, firstly by Professor David Morris, and then we'll move on to Julie. So I am going to read it a little bit. I'm not going to be as exuberant as our other performers tonight. Okay, so David says, Geomotional is a remarkable and beautifully illustrated exploration of geometric art, past and present. The book, which has us journey through images, words, poetry and song, and gives account of a performance installation, is compiled by Mary Elizabeth Langer, who is prolific in her writings on indigenous art and story and various intersections with heritage. Mary Langer routinely makes her co-workers also her co-authors, and this book is no exception, with its 10 contributors' names appearing alongside hers on the front cover. They all figure in the pages within blending through age, gender, language, and geography as they add insights and perspectives imaginatively brought together. The book is an outpouring from a project called Geomotional Furentu, described as a vibrant, applied heritage and cultural project related to Khoi and San-speaking people's history, heritage, and identity. With funding from the Royal Netherlands Embassy and South Fruits International, the project, threading through Durban to the Kalahari to Cape Town, included July 2024 online workshops connecting city to remote rural places. This was followed by in-person sessions at the Castle of Good Hope in Cape Town and production there later in the same month of a performance installation. A Zoom workshop brought in other partners making brochures for the project and the performance. This book is generated from the material and creative responses to geometric forms encountered by these participants. Mary Langer starts from geometrics and rock art as metaphors of transformation and transition, and introduces the pervasive figure of the mythical water snake, which she and others have taken up in scholarly work. She goes on to address landscape and spirituality and the spirit of place, past, and present. She details her own decades-long odyssey in a chapter, Reading Geometric Shapes, in which she weaves together the academic rock art literature with her own experiences, with insights gained from people of the Southern Kalahari region, and with her personal immersion into rock art landscapes. So sien ek hom, geometrische vorms van die verlede, is a chapter written by Kamani San elders, Isaac and Lydia Krepa, who have engaged with rock art over many years and were co-authors of the book Bishiput, Engraved Landscape, Many Voices. This forms part of a broader reception study which expands on the academic interpretation of geometric images, bringing different perspectives in different languages: English, Afrikaans, Nama, isiZulu. Insights from the Crapers are given in Nama, transcribed and translated by Pedro Dalsip, and also writes in Afrikaans and English, my mother tongue Nama. We heard a little bit of that earlier. The project's creative responses flow on from this, making up the concluding chapters, and here are included stories from the Kamani San elders and other writers of poetry. There is an account of the dancing team, led by Sulivia van Wyk, and of the arts and crafts team, led by the Kamani San Crepa elders and Jula Kathleen Sue Allen, poetry by Gracia Lowe, Nomusa Mabaso, Skalk van Roo, and Roger Fisher, who also edited the book. Jeanette Martin sums up the project as a whole in a chapter, Culture and Heritage for Transformation, while a concluding note by Prof Emeritus Roger Fisher writes fittingly of his sister's major contributions and about this book's weaving together the numerous threads from a productive professional career. All the contributors, and not least the artwork by Kathleen Sue, makes this a lively celebration of the project, the people, the images, the places, and the landscapes caught up in this meshwork around geometric art. So that's from Professor David Morris. The second review and appreciation I'd like to read is by Julie Malan, who is a speech, language, and drama facilitator. She says, delving into this historical treasure trove spilling over the Khoisan San people's culture and history was a delight. We live in a time of so much computer-generated information that one must wonder if humanity is not losing its ability to understand and appreciate the history of their cultures. Are we busy losing ourselves in a sea of sometimes suspect communication? We forget that our most cultural traditions that we hold so dear were once passed from generation to generation, primarily through the spoken word, song, and dance. In many instances, the cultures of South Africa still need to come to grips with the complex challenges of a traumatic past and seek ways to address the trauma and move forward constructively with clear minds. This is where Dr. Langa and her highly creative team fit in. They have celebrated the sign of the past by creatively engaging in the now to embrace the future through a broad creative spectrum. During this process, the teams have interacted with each other, shared skills, and celebrated their successes. Dr. Langa has constructed a bridge between academic backgrounds and the creative spaces where mentors and participants have learned so much from one another. This is how understanding and growth between cultures ought to occur. The work and study that Dr. Langa and others have pursued throughout their lives can only positively manifest and resonate across all cultures. In Chapter 3, reading about geometric shapes and their meanings was fascinating, and even more so when Isak and Lydia Kraper described these shapes, sharing their stories of what they meant to them in their life. When one looks at these shapes, a fabulous tapestry comes to mind that any fertile mind could create. The discussion of the language Nama in Chapter 5 is relevant to the question of preserving one's language. This is significant for all cultures. The poetry crafted to guide the reader through this ancient and wondrous journey is illuminating, as it allows the reader to experience many sights, sounds, and emotions of this living culture. The dance, song, arts and crafts, and performance installation teams created magic, and what was remarkable was how this magic was conveyed to the artist. Their infectious joy radiates in the beautifully illustrated pictures throughout the book. I encourage every teacher, mentor, facilitator, and passionate reader to acquire a copy of Geomotional, Geometric Art, Past and Present, and embark on a fascinating journey through the history and contemporary significance of one of our ancient South African cultures. The end.